Are you ready to have the actual guide and handbook on how to get started as a virtual assistant? In this video, I'm going to walk you guys through the step-by-step things that you need to know to become a virtual assistant, and as well as a resource for you guys that will hopefully appreciate and enjoy. Now, a few weeks back, I had one of you guys reach out to me saying like, hey, I've collected all of these notes on how to be a virtual assistant through your videos. Is it okay if I go ahead and actually publish this? And I was like, we can probably just collaborate and make that a little bit better. And I do want to give a shout out to Ishi for giving the idea of creating this handbook, and hopefully this will give you guys a lot of value as well. Now, the product is a paid product. I'm currently pricing it really, really cheap. The biggest reason why I'm putting it as a paid product is because I need you guys to take action. I don't want this to be something that you guys are just gonna glaze over, that you're gonna be saving this on your YouTube, probably watching once and forgetting again. I want you guys to be committed into becoming a virtual assistant. Now, on the product itself, you basically just have, the virtual assistant starter handbook. We have a welcome guide, basically a little bit of info and tidbit of why we created the product in the first place. And then we have getting started as a VA. And now a lot of my content here on YouTube is around that, of how to get started, how to actually do it. And the last video I actually did last week was all about that, to actually how to get started. And a lot of that is doing the prep work of doing research of what a virtual assistant does, going ahead and actually learning more about what the day-to-day of a virtual assistant looks like, choosing what kind of virtual assistant you want to be, and choosing who you want to work with. And that's the basics of when you're still just getting started as a virtual assistant, is you need to know what kind of problem are you solving for your target market, whoever that person would be. Then we have the grow yourself as a virtual assistant, and that is the next step, is learning how to continuously learn and grow yourself. The biggest part, or the biggest difference about being a virtual assistant versus if you were a freelancer, if you're a graphic artist, copywriter, or any type of basically someone who works online, is when you're a virtual assistant, you grow with your client. Basically, whatever their business is focused on or what they're focused on, you're going to be focused on. As a really good example, for our fantastic social media manager into XU, which is my virtual assistant agency, a lot of what he does is really just focused on growing our social media, versus for my own amazing executive assistant, she basically manages me. She makes sure I'm creating videos like this. She's making sure that I am aligned. Basically, one of the things I'm doing is aligned to the goals that we've set. She also helps create assets like these with me. So she grows wherever I'm growing or wherever I'm focused on. So growing as a virtual assistant is going to be one of the key parts of how to be able to stand out and how to kind of keep up with your client as well. Next is, speaking of your client, it's essentially your client management. So your client management walks you through the process of how to be able to not just get a client, but keep a client. And that's honestly one of the biggest things that will cut down your frustrations as a virtual assistant, is when you're able to keep a client long term. And what this looks like is you don't have to keep looking for jobs, you don't have to keep getting referrals or posting a lot, because you have this one client that you're taking care of, and how to take care of them long term. This includes things like building a routine with them, actually understanding how their business works, so you know where to take initiative and when to take initiative. It also involves making sure that they feel heard and understood, and that you understand their goals within the business and getting them to that point. Again, a really prime example of that is my own EA, who does that for me every single day. Every single time we have a sync, is we are aligned on what we're supposed to be focused on and what we're supposed to be doing. Next, basically, are the typical tasks that you will need to master and learn. There's calendar management, which is basically making sure that your client's calendar is clean, up to date, and is aligned to what needs to get done. It's making sure that they don't have any conflicts on their schedule. It's making sure who's supposed to be in that meeting is in that meeting, and giving people in that meeting context on what this meeting is about. That way they're not just hopping on a Zoom call, not really sure what's happening or what they're supposed to be doing. Next is email management, which is basically just learning the process of how to keep someone's files, their inputs, basically the things that come into their attention clean. So this could be things like making sure that you are putting things in the right folder, you're responding to emails in the way that you know your client will respond to emails, and also making sure to pop up anything that needs your client's attention right away, and picking them on that. I'm like, oh, this is urgent, this is not urgent, urgent, or I can take care of this. It's basically making sure that you kind of have a good filing system. Imagine that you are an in-person assistant where you have things that go into the input folder of basically where people drop information or files for a client, and things that need to be output to someone else, and things that your client is the only one who needs to see. So you're creating kind of a file management of all of that data to make sure that, again, your client only sees the things that they need to see, and then you're able to take care of everything else. Next is that social media management. So depending on your client, if they're growing their brand, if they're growing part of their business, you might do some light social media management. So for my assistant, because I do have this YouTube channel where she's able to repurpose a lot of the content, she's posting it on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and she's also able to manage parts of my Facebook, and basically just reposting all of the content I have here to somewhere else. And we basically have been able to automate parts of these with AI, even where it sounds like I'm the one writing it, even though it is my assistant writing it, but we've trained essentially an AI writer to be able to capture my voice, capture my stories, so it can tell it the same way. Next is lead generation, which is learning the process of how to capture people who are interested in your client, basically, and working with the business. So what that means is, for example, for you, you are a lead for this product. You're someone who is interested in how to be a virtual assistant. You're the one that we created this product for. So in a lot of the different ways and things that we focus on within 2XU and how we want to grow 2XU, you guys are a lead. You're either in the future could be a potential applicant for one of our clients if you are based in the Philippines, or you could be someone who could potentially want to be coached by me. And depending on how that turns out, you are basically a lead. So for you, as the on the other side of it, as a virtual assistant, you're capturing the leads, making sure that they feel taken care of, it being warm, to the point basically that your client can talk to them or they buy or purchase something from your client. Next is project management, which is one of the key things, honestly, that you will do as a virtual assistant, is managing projects as they come and go. And that project could literally just be onboarding a new client and following the process there of how to onboard a new client. The project could be like, this is now how we create this new standard operating procedure, or this is now how we do our social media posts. So it's managing a project from start to finish to make sure that it actually is implemented and changes something in the business rather than just something that's just sitting there. And lastly, there's the to-do list mastery. It's really fully knowing and understanding how to be able to manage a to-do list, whatever that looks like with your client. So it's managing the things that, again, come into attention, making sure that they're processed through, and then making sure that actually something happens afterwards. So it's kind of more project management, but it's also managing yourself, your to-dos, and what it is that you do as a virtual assistant. Now, within the product, we also just have a study test for you to kind of test your knowledge based on what you've learned so far. We also have a final checklist that you can follow. But basically, this product was basically made as your step-by-step process on how to be able to start and just begin. Now, a couple of things that I know you guys are probably wondering when it comes to being a virtual assistant. One is pricing. And honestly, when it comes to pricing, is the more money you can help your client make, the more you can charge. That's basically what it is if you can save your client time and money basically on doing things, then the more you can charge. If your client is making $10,000 a month versus a client who makes 30, 50, 100,000, you could probably charge more on the 100,000 side, mostly because they're solving bigger problems. That way you are proving your ROI. If you can actually do the work that needs to get done, you're proving your return on investment to how much they're paying you, and you're proving that, hey, you can pay for me because this is the result that I can give you. So that'll very much vary. I know there's a lot of people who say like, oh, you can charge, $1,000 to $5,000 as a virtual assistant, or we might start at 400. Really depends on your capability of solving a skill and being able to price yourself confidently in a way, knowing that you can give them back the ROI of how much they're paying you. Now, I do have a ton of videos on this channel that you guys can basically go binge watch and go through and learn. In 2XU, we are always hiring, just because we always have clients who are coming in who want to hire an executive assistant and getting themselves started as well. And I'm also going to start running monthly workshops on how to become a virtual assistant, especially with using AI, very, very soon. So make sure that you are in this channel, you're following me in Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere else, so you can see those announcements as they come in. And of course, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have in becoming a virtual assistant. I would love to know. And of course, make sure to grab the product we just talked about on Gumroad. Again, I've made it really, really cheap because I just need your tiniest commitment. You're actually willing to do this. That's all that I need. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and with the small steps matters. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!